like to call to order the Housing Conservation Commission meeting for May 28th, 2025 at 7:01 p.m. I have a roll call starting,
Mike Potts, present.
James Dorian, present.
James Gates present,
Kevin Smith, present.
and
Pat.
No,
can you just announce yourself, Pat, please?
I'm sorry.
Can you?
Pat Shumwell. 701.
No, we just started.
We just added.
So perfect, thank you. Kevin, do you mind reading us?
minutes back.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Church and state, Kevin. Careful.
This meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and or deletions. We're going to remove 3.2 for tonight, and then we're going to add 3.3 enforcement order
Two.
for Shepherd's Farms, which I will abstain from. And
I spoke to the town council last night,
yes,
and it should have been on the agenda much earlier.
right. That's what I had said. So
So it's gonna happen next week.
unfortunately, it needs to be, the law states it needs to be ratified by the next, or the meeting, closest public meeting following the issuance, and we have not done that, so we're not in compliance, but I'm just nervous that it's one of those things that are hanging out there that I don't want to come back against us.
I understand.
And we've had a really good rapport with the state. So,
Good to keep it that way.
We do, I believe we have 60 days.
Can I ask, sorry, what this is about?
they'll talk about it. I'm not gonna be in the room when you guys talk about it.
Okay.
If
I
that,
have something to talk about too after with
what is it? I can add it. I'm doing my additions.
the Edwards Road, the gentleman that you guys went to, or they
Jimmy's
went to
friend?
clean up. It is back to being even worse than before.
Yeah.
Really bad.
What number of Edwards Road was it?
Wasn't it two Edwards?
No, it was a little bit higher than that, but I took Kobe out to that particular site, brought him up to speed on that, brought him up to speed on a dozen other things, but that was a part of,
I couldn't believe it was back like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna add 3.4
Yeah.
Edwards Road, wetlands violations.
Jesus, that never goes away for us, does it?
Oh, it did. It did. Jimmy spent a lot
Yeah,
of
well,
time.
Yeah, but it
So,
went away, but it came back.
went away and it came back.
chair report, anything covered under anything I have will be covered under the agent report. 1.6, review and approve meeting minutes. You have a
If you are adding some things, maybe we could discuss Starbucks.
maybe that's, Colby, are you gonna talk about Starbucks at all?
No, I covered the site, pre-construction site meeting last time, so I was.
we're gonna have a headache there, just like we are, some of these things I showed you are things that are gonna
Okay,
rear up. So no worries about that, we'll get it.
well, no, if it's on his radar, if you're bringing it up,
I'll bring it up.
Alright,
It's easy enough.
all right.
this other meeting minutes, that was when Ann Gagnon was there, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't vote on those, I was not there.
Let's see that one.
Look at what- What time? Will you guys look that over?
That'll be fine.
What did you put in 3.3? What is that gonna be?
Order for Shepherd Farms.
You're bringing that into the meeting,
I'm
Tom?
not bringing it in, the commissioners are. I'm bringing it in, I'm adding it to the agenda so that the vice chair can, um,
There's a problem with it.
there's no problem with that, I'm just rereading it, and it's funny. It's when Ann Gagnon, said to us, are you planning on developing this property for Dudley? I'm just smiling because of the conversation.
Oh,
I don't know what happened to Pat, she comes back soon,
Some reason I remember that was 51 there.
all right, so Colby, this is in no particular order, I guess. On March 26th minutes, the conversation with Ann Gagnon. You have, we run on a shoestring properties, and I think you meant budget
What input?
properties.
shoestring budget.
Are you reviewing the meeting minutes, Pat?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when everyone's ready. Colby, what meeting minutes are we approving tonight besides the 28th, the 12th?
In last week's, right?
Say 12.
March
26.
Oh, I just noticed another thing. On the head, it has James Deeds 2024. And it looks like Pat and Jimmy need to put in their volunteer response forms for reappointment.
You know what year
Not
you are
sure.
appointed to, I think?
Well, what?
Do you know what year you are appointed to?
No. I think
2026, no,
I wouldn't know.
you're 2024,
Yeah, and I think I have the 3-year term, so I think I'm 27
okay.
because it's staggered. So, but if you and Pat have to,
So if mine says 25, it's 29,
no, it's 25.
okay.
So we've got to,
Hey, you know if that is, but
I'll fill it out.
I may have to put all my valuable time into another coinciding commission.
Pat, you had a question?
I'm sorry, but
Did you have a question?
I didn't have a question. I was just gonna say, I can be on it for a while. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna stay in Townsend.
Okay.
I am gonna be moving. So,
What am I, the first one to hear about this?
no, no.
You just spring it on me at a meeting, you're leaving? Oh, that's great.
when are you gonna retire? With honors?
Yeah, there's no retirement in the plans.
No, when are you gonna retire from the Conservation
Oh.
Commission with honors?
Well, I'll be here probably 2 years at the most,
No,
and then.
but
we'll see what
you're not up
happens,
for expiration till next year anyway, eh?
No, it's this
No,
year.
it's this
This
year.
year?
We
Yeah.
both expire this year.
But you can get back on for 2 more years, even if you're only there for a year.
Or, yeah, whatever it is. I just need to do your volunteer response form.
I'm all set. Make a motion.
Okay,
So the only thing I saw was March 26th. During the discussion with Ian Gagnon was,
What was the other date?
the 12th.
12.
The 12.
Didn't see anything on the 12th. But I'll wait for Pat to.
Okay.
So make a motion to approve with the appropriate amendments, said March 26th, but I motion to approve, March 12th and 26th meeting minutes,
Second,
2025.
second.
Second, roll call vote starting with
says yes.
James Thorne, yes.
James Deeds, yes.
Kevin Smith, yes.
Generally, yes.
You'd say you were gonna abstain from that.
12th was, didn't you just say we're doing the 12th?
And
Which was last week.
And the 26th. No, this isn't, these are
So,
March. These are March.
all right, I'm staying.
So you rescind, you
Rescind, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't look at it. Yeah.
you mind just stating your name and say.
James Throin, abstained, and what did you,
Rescind
you wanna rescind it?
approval
Okay,
Is that
for the
a-
meeting minutes.
abstained.
You get that?
I was looking at the other minutes and I got ahead of myself, thought it was last
Did you make
week.
that look good? One point seven, agent report.
There's.
Oh, yeah, join us.
And my apologies, I will take these up tomorrow. I'll start with an encroachment update on the Dudley Meadows. I spoke to our new liaison for land use department. It is the new select person, Val Goodrich. She did respond and said that she wants to bring it up to, in a meeting on an agenda with the select board before we actually do anything. But she wants us to, you know, keep making progress on this issue. And I've already gathered information and sent it forward to her. So it's a little bit in there, waiting for to hear back from them right now. Yeah, would you agree with that?
So why don't you read through you, I'll make notes of things I wanna talk about. Because unless you wanna stop right here and discuss it.
As well, yeah.
I-
Go ahead.
I think that there's still some blurry, well, you also met with town council with
I did.
regards to the property.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about that? Or is that in your report?
No, it's just, hasn't really changed. I believe I mentioned it already, but it's muddy. And we have to, the town council suggested that we have to really get to the bottom of who is in control of that property. And that question is out to our new select person there, which will be brought up to the select board. But that's right. I also, brought to their attention that it's not in the care, custody, and control of the Conservation Commission because it's not under Mass General Law, Chapter 40, subsection 8A. And I asked them to address that.
What was town council's opinion?
That that Conservation Commission should not be addressing the encroachment issue before we know for certain who's in control of the property.
But our liaison wants us to.
She wants to keep moving forward on the issue by collecting more information, but not contacting the property owners yet.
Who was standing as our liaison? This is news to me.
The newly elected,
The guy that,
I don't know.
It's
her.
Val Goodrich, who's the liaison between the land use department and the select board.
And Val is has been signed on as the new selectman.
Yes.
So we're at a full house, 3 selectmen right now?
No, there's 2 more. We're gonna have, 5
5 of them, yeah.
5 table or 5-person select board.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Right, that was an article for us.
Yeah. At the town
at
meeting.
the town meeting, yeah.
How acclimated is our new liaison to this commission? There you go. Homer.
it's early on.
I
Early in
hesitate,
the game.
I hesitate putting much effort or time in the limited resources that we have into something that we may or may not have jurisdiction on.
Gotta figure out where the cart is and where the horse is.
What are your thoughts?
See what the select board says, and I'll attend that meeting too.
Gotta figure out who's in control of it before we have anyone to
Makes sense.
approach.
Especially with town council
I
saying
agree.
you're not in control of it.
Mhm. I would tend to go to where Adam is with it.
So who's actively pursuing who controls it?
Mike brings up another valid point, though. Who's gonna be the one steering this, or at least,
Yeah, who's gonna be steering the ship?
yeah,
No,
pushing it along so it does get
You
answered?
would think it would be the liaison, between the liaison and town council.
And in the meeting with Ann Gannon, she gave us the roadmap a little bit to having that property come under our control.
Right,
So,
it'd have to go to, town, or it'd have to be an warrant article the next town meeting,
town meeting, yeah.
which I threw out there at Nelson in the email chain, and he wasn't opposed to it. At least that's what I read into it.
do you want me to draft up the article?
I think that's the only way we're gonna get any movement on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's otherwise it's gonna sit there and stalemate.
Yeah, otherwise, I don't know if our liaison has enough experience to understand that part. Mike, again, brings up a good point.
Let's figure out who to approach first. Yeah.
Well, no, present a warrant article at the next special town meeting.
As to who has control of it.
Nope, to have it deeded to Townsend Conservation Commission as open space.
I
Moving
think
forward,
our commission is more aware of the deed,
Then,
than the other boards.
we would be educating.
Same thing, I don't know how, I don't know how Adam can come up with, the uncertainty of who's in control.
Well, the deed is pretty vague.
do we
So
have
why-
a copy of it so we
I
can
don't know.
read the verbiage as to how to understand this?
We,
Well, that's why I thought going to Adam is the best way, because, you know.
So we've read it,
obviously the
Jimmy,
town's
and-
attorney,
and it's written, Colby, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's written as, it's deeded to the town of Townsend as quote unquote, open space.
Is this the past, is this what Victoria's looking at also? All right, never mind. That was that other piece from last week we were discussing. There was another piece that we had some on Meadow Road. We had, part of that
West Meadow?
West Meadow. The 20-acre parcel, then the other parcel, there seems to be a little deficiency in the verbiage.
well, isn't there a piece of that that's North County Land Trust? That piece up there?
Now I'm confused.
So that's a good example, and I'll go and check both properties, but that's a good example, the larger property up there that the Conservation Commission is in care of.
That we did the boundary
Specifically says in the deed,
conservation,
Mass General Law, Chapter 40, subsection 8A.
right.
So,
Now, the other piece doesn't read out the same way.
I'll go back and look.
So we got a problem with that.
Well, you know
And
what?
Dudley,
So,
no worries.
we're more focused on the
Dudley,
Dudley.
yeah.
Encroachment.
And what's,
Mike,
That's the
You-
first-
Well, it's clear that the town owns it, but in order for the warrant article to deed it to us, it's just the town owns it, that's good enough, it doesn't have to be any more specific than that, it seems like
Well, it
somehow.
needs to be.
it needs to be more specific in terms of the Conservation Commission. It's under the Conservation Commission. So
Yes.
Then we can enforce,
hold on to it.
well, but it's the enforcement side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's, the town gets to deal with it, we don't.
Right, but if it's vague who, it's not vague who owns it, town owns it. Okay, it's just vague who controls it.
The town of Townsend owns it.
Right,
There's no issue there.
right.
It's just whose control
All right,
is
so,
it
so,
under.
so it'd be straightforward. They don't have to go back and do some.
No, no,
It's
no,
a
no,
question
right.
of what that property can be used for,
Yeah.
now or in the future.
How many acres is it again?
Dudley?
Yeah,
6
Okay.
around there?
Yeah, somewhere around. Pat, you have a question?
No, no.
I just want to make sure. you're included.
it's a decent.
Yeah.
Track.
I mean, you want the selectmen dragging their feet either. That's what's gonna happen if we don't.
No.
Look into
If we don't make
this.
the first move,
Right.
and that's what you tried to do, and town council's like, no, 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 it's not yours. Well, let's get this sorted out.
So basically, we need to
It was
do
wheelhouses that fall on, it was wheelhouses.
whose wheelhouse is it under?
That's
Yeah,
right.
and we would like to bring it to ours. Rightfully so.
You did everything right, reaching out to Adam. You hope you have a clear understanding. So I guess we will.
She's moving along slowly.
The wheels of town government tend to move a little slow.
Oh,
But-
boy,
We should be prepared by drafting the warrant article for it, so.
I would.
Yeah,
always be ready for town meeting.
I think we're good if you wanna move on.
Yeah. Let's see, admin approvals, BOH sign offs, I have 145 Highland Street, there's a garage addition going on. Top of the road there, no wetlands involved. 77 Tyler Road has an addition going on, no wetlands involved with that. So yeah, I'm gonna jump down and then jump back up. 35 Greenville Road, I went out and did a site visit there. There's,
That's Tossi's, I think.
Mhm.
Sean Tossi's.
yep, I met with the contractor, Sean, is it Tossi?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean,
I asked him that, so I should remember. But, yeah, I went out and measured, the distances to the wetland, to the, buffer zone and the riverfront. And it's actually, you wouldn't think it, but it's a lot drier up there and they're
It's a
outside,
dry piece of property.
they're outside of, any wet, water resource, wetland resource area, excuse me. Okay, 15 Proctor Road, that is gonna need a RDA at a minimum. It's a leaching field replacement and it's pretty much on top, it's on top of the wetland, but it's existing leaching field, so it's exempt. But it will require a site visit, I would say.
for a redo on a septic, a
Yeah,
leach
because
field?
it's an RDA.
Okay.
They can do it, but they thought through the.
Yeah, we have to go through the formality.
Okay. I don't know if I covered this last time, but I'll just cover it again. 37 New Fitchburg Road. Originally, the owner had was gonna be a large carport, basically, in the backyard. They decided to move it outside of the 200-foot riverfront area, so that's good, that's a win.
So in other words, they moved it to stay away from this meeting.
Yeah, they changed their plans.
Simple as
194
that.
Dudley Road, same thing, this one was gonna be tough because it was gonna be a detached garage that was, within a 200-foot riverfront area in another wetland.
You did cover that one last time.
Alright, well, he moved it,
Okay.
and it is now outside of any area. That covers.
One of the. So you also asked town council, because there was a freedom or an information request. With regarding an enforcement, what was the answer to that?
Yeah.
Is it considered public information prior to, or does it have to be ratified, or?
So I did ask that, and he said that it's not a public document before it gets ratified. Now, if it gets, sent somewhere, or sent in the emails, or transpired in some way, it could be. So it's not as clear cut as you think. If it's still internal, still waiting to be ratified, hasn't been sent anywhere, not a public document.
Now, what about the information request, fees that we can charge?
Yeah, they're coming up with a standard for it now, because the town clerk has been bombarded.
So it's not, we don't get to choose.
Bombarded with what, information?
Yeah, information
For-
requests. So people calling in, asking for, documents.
Correct, and if it's up to 2 hours, that's at what point in time we're able to bill them for
So,
that
Kevin
information.
might know this better than me or Colby, but they recently passed,
I got this straight from the selectmen last
Okay.
week.
but wanted someone to explain what the new policy is, if it takes more than 2 hours to,
If it exceeds 2 hours to research, to calculate the information, to bring it out, we have the ability to bill the person for the request that is requesting. So if John Doe asks for this and it takes 2.2 hours, we have the right to bill them. If it's an hour and a half, you know, they tried to get it for an hour, which I think they should have. Nelson opted to bring it to 2 hours. Time is time. Some of these things I've seen us have to go out and look at, et cetera, et cetera.
One other thing that I'll add on here, 35 Fitchburg Road, I've been visiting them a couple times. This is actually going back several months. I started there in February, and their house is right on, it's a historic house right on the river.
like Churchville's.
Churchville's, yes. And it's getting eroded by the river. They have a wall, retaining wall, but it's sinking and the backyard is sinking, so that, it's already,
35 Worcester.
yes.
Is it 35 Worcester or 35? Yeah, I'm lost. Are we?
Fitchburg.
Oh, that's right,
It's
Fitchburg.
right at the corner of Worcester and Pittsburgh.
All right, that's right.
Is it the one that just sold and is getting?
No, Churchy's house, the one right on the corner, when you turn into
It's to
Worcester.
Worcester, it's on the left-hand
Oh,
side.
right hand side, not the old Woods fan.
Okay, the right-hand side, not
Right,
the old one.
crossing the old Woods fan.
Gotcha.
So
Thank you for getting me.
the deck, the house is being endangered by, being damaged by the erosion of their bank. I've been, trying to contact, the Army Corps of Engineers to get, see if, they need permitting to start a project there, see if there might even be grants, available to them. But there's actually, well, we got our own wetland bylaw that's involved there. We got the DEP involved. We also have the National Park Service with the Wild and Scenic River Association, is that right? They're involved. And actually, the people there are really a wealth of knowledge. But it's been hard to get in contact with them, which is why I have to go directly to the Army COE now. Their jobs have been endangered, or in flux, I should say.
Influx.
That's got to be an emergency situation over at Churchville's. Hopefully, what do they want, they.
Have we
Some
seen
point,
that? Have we
you know,
been
we
brought
get a lot
up
of
to
water.
look at?
No,
Well,
Colby did like
that's
a
a
pre consultation, like take a look at it.
Yeah.
At some
They
point,
haven't filed
Yeah, yeah.
anything.
at some point, they may have to just come in and say, we got an emergency.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of students bringing it back of my van falls in the river.
Right, and that would
That's what it's
constitute an emergency.
Yeah, that would constitute an emergency, and if the granite keeps coming down, the retaining wall's falling.
Yeah.
If it keeps coming down, it's gonna be a problem, right?
So the biggest thing with something in regards to that is you have to have everything in place, ready to go, so that the minute they start, or they think about starting work, we're issuing that.
Emergency law.
Yeah, because then they have, I think, 30 days to complete it.
So, yeah, so that's high on my priority list for just contact the Army COE.
We went to a class for, that's gonna fall under a stabilization restoration category, and that's the Army Corps of Engineers that'll get involved in that. And they're pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of different avenues and there is funding for these things. It depends upon how you present it and what organization you reach over to.
If you have any contacts or, know the names.
You're already started in the right direction. I mean, that falls under Army Corps of Engineer. They'll have the high water flow, low water flow.
Contact there, but he's retired now.
There's a lot of them retiring. You're gonna see a lot of new faces from the old faces that aren't getting
He's
replaced.
a town resident too, he's no longer, but.
Pat, Mike, do you have anything?
Well, I'm just curious,
question, or-
it's New Fitchburg Road?
No.
Pittsburgh's West Townsend.
North Townsend.
Yeah.
Fitchburg is-
Worcester Road.
It's Elm Street and then
Across
New
from
Fitchburg.
the
Elm
Spalding
Street and then
School.
Fitchburg.
No,
Isn't it?
Oh,
Just about.
To the other
Worcester
side.
Road
That's
is-
Worcester
if
Road.
you went down to the very end of Worcester Road, where it comes on to 13 right here.
Yeah, right,
Dunkin'
right, right.
Donuts.
Or you just go over the bridge that they're working on,
Yeah.
Okay,
and it's the first house on the right,
On the
it's
right.
right on
Okay,
the corner.
all right, I
Worcester
know
Road.
that is, all right, sure. Huh.
They've done the nice ornate blocking in the front. It's well
Okay,
kept.
so that's an
Yeah, yeah,
ongoing
sure.
thing that you just,
Keep plugging away.
Keep beating away at it, Colby.
But that's gonna go into ACEC and that'll be under restoration and stabilization program. They
Yeah,
are
but
big
if all of a
in
sudden you get a lot of water.
Hold on,
and
we're
the things
throwing
start
acronyms
falling
around.
in.
ECEC is.
Army Corps. I meant the Army Corps of Engineers.
That's it.
We're human too.
Down with me? And go back over there? All right, good.
Thank
I
you,
don't know,
Colby.
I don't know, Pat's
Thank you,
itching.
Colby.
What?
My pen.
All right, 3.1, Wild and Scenic Rivers Land Protection Grant. So two possible applications for submittal. First, for more Conservation Commission properties to be surveyed, discussion on which properties to elect. Second, pursuit of conservation restrictions to connect Concom properties on West Meadow Road, discussion on whether this is worthwhile. Were you able to compile any notable properties that would be worth?
Yeah, I think what would be the most appropriate ones, I want to review it and see.
When is the application due?
It's due June 1st, which I realize is very soon. But I've already started the applications. They're about half filled out. I'll certainly be able to get them in. But I just want to make sure that the properties that we're looking at, you think are appropriate. And, like I said, there's two grants. Let's say that. It's the same grant fund, but we can put in multiple applications. If you think this is worthwhile, I want you to think about getting a conservation restriction that will connect the two West Meadow properties. Because they are separated by not a long distance, but along Rock Brook there, there's a couple hundred feet where
Is it privately owned?
they are. So we will, tomorrow I'm gonna contact the homeowners, and see if they would be amenable or want to pursue the idea of having a conservation restriction on their property.
Or how about a section of, they may not wanna put a conservation restriction on their whole property. But
Well, you could-
you may get a 50-foot strip or something along Rock Brook,
Yeah.
so that you could put a trail from one, so a trail could be constructed from one property to another.
And can I share my computer?
Harley, can Colby have the screen sharing? You gotta sign on.
Have him sign on and then I'll let him screen share.
Thank you.
And then what are the two properties that you thought of to do surveying bounds on?
Basmains or the Lunenburg Road Conservation Area.
Okay.
And, one off of Alyssa Drive, which is in
Yep, Kimberly Park.
Kimberly Park. Thank you.
How big a piece is that one?
It's like 17 acres. Was it? I'll have to double check on that, but it's like 17.
In Timberley,
Totally, yeah.
There's still a bunch of order conditions in there that are open.
Is that down, that's not down by the Hickory Road piece. That doesn't butt to that piece, does it?
it's like this individual that's finishing up all these pieces for another contractor that pieces of property all over the place that were left open,
Who's that, my cousin?
George. So, yeah. Right, I mean, still doing it,
Yeah.
still.
Have you gotten any quotes for Lunenburg Road or Alyssa Drive?
I am not, but I spoke to the people, with the Wild and Scenic, National River.
Yeah.
Group. Sorry, I'm not remembering it, because it's 5 words to it. And they said, use your best knowledge to what it costs, and I'm gonna use the previous,
Survey.
to judge off what it costs.
So,
But it can be also amended to, throw in the middle of the year.
okay, because I know that, so the Dudley Road parcel, that one was cheap because of, Dillis and Roy had,
The subdivision.
yeah, they did
They
the
also
engineering for the
And
subdivision.
they also had the Atwood Acres parcel.
Yeah,
So they had a lot of control in there. So they were able to whip through that pretty quickly. Like that piece down, the other one they did down below, that was that's a shoot from the hip kind of start doing.
Which
a lot of
one was that,
research.
Kevin?
I went down on, Wallace. Oh, I remember. Well, the other parcel that they did.
so I like that idea for those two properties.
Yeah,
How big of parcel is Lunenburg Road?
Yeah, in total, it comes out to 11 something acres.
And that's just to the,
And it's landlocked also?
no, Lunenburg Road is right off, it's right past Bayberry Hill. You're going up and over.
Okay, to the other side, all right,
left-hand side where they got the entrance to the OK Corral,
yeah,
that piece.
okay.
Pat, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Questions?
Nothing.
Looking at West End, and it becomes.
Correct.
Mike, do you have?
Well, I'm not familiar with, obviously you guys know all of the parcels and.
Yeah,
no,
we don't.
Well,
You know,
seem
as
to
much
know
as we
what's
So if you look
around.
at the screen right now, Colby pulled
Ah,
it up. Is those 4 in there, Colby?
Yes,
Okay.
4 small properties.
And those were undevelopable Timberley Park,
No, this is Lunenburg Road.
Lunenburg Road.
Just past Dickey Corduse, just past Baby Hill.
Sawmill up there, right?
Yeah.
Huh? What?
I see piles of logs up there anyway.
Everybody's got piles of logs.
You're talking about that piece right there, Colby, which piece? Go
Uh,
back to it, the 4 lots, right?
Yeah.
yeah, right here.
Yeah, that piece right there was, I don't believe there was ever a sawmill on that property. That goes down and kind of borders up to, what used to be, what is Country Auto, kind of on the backside.
Right.
Does Lunenburg
And
Road,
that's where they got the 8x8s up there. It looks like the entrance to the OK Corral.
Oh,
They put up there. If you drive up there, you'll see it.
What,
8
Mike?
by 8s.
does it become Elm Street
Pull
closer
up,
to West?
instead of taking a
Okay,
left,
West
to go to
Elm.
Dickey Coy View,
West-
Correct.
yeah,
stay
okay.
straight
Stay
up the
straight.
hill.
Yeah,
Once you
But
get
you're
to
gonna
the,
head to Gary's and it's just 500 feet past,
okay.
past
Yep.
Baby Hill Road on the left. There's
On
some
the
8x8s.
someone dumped a bunch of mattresses up there a couple years ago.
And somebody had put a top piece on it. I think there's a sign that says Townsend Conservation or
conservation.
something underneath. Looks like the entrance to the OK Corral.
Right,
So one of the reasons why I picked these properties is that they are clearly under a mass general law. And we don't actually have that many properties under that, so.
right.
Kind of narrows it down.
So that's the Lindbergh Road one. Do you mind going over to Alyssa Drive?
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
That'll get me there. We own this property here. But that's for another time. Yes, oh, that's right, it's known as Deer Run Conservation.
Oh, okay.
That's, okay.
Must be Deer Run.
Oh,
Yeah, really slow down there. What does that work out to be on an acreage basis?
17 acres.
Okay,
that's
okay,
a perfect one to do. There's a bit more people that probably encroach.
right. Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, there's one other option here for property.
This is all the computer is on, and
Where are we? Where are we?
It's still in Timberley Park.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have brought that mouse. Here. That's that. So it's the other side, on the other side, Timberley Park, this in here, which is. It kind of ribbons around a bunch of areas.
so Timberley Park Conservation Area.
Yeah. That'd be a tough one. That'd probably be pretty expensive.
That's the one the brook runs through.
Yeah.
Weren't those put aside for the water aquifer preservation
Well, I thought that's what it was.
many years ago?
So put that one in your back pocket for next year.
Next year, I would say.
What's the name of that brook?
Is it which?
Which brook?
Yeah, it says it right.
Which?
Oh, I'm looking at it on the
Wolf
computer.
Brook.
No, it's Witch Brook.
Which
I
brook?
think it's which.
Yeah, because it's Witch.
Yeah.
It's such a dad joke.
Excuse me.
Bless it.
Kevin, you're slipping. You usually know those brooks. by
No, I
heart.
know. Well, there's fish in there too.
Which brook is always even up our way, far up in the west town.
Yeah.
It's
All right, so
always
I-
a nice brook.
I show the conservation restrictions possibly.
Yeah. So do you have an idea what it costs to do the conservation restriction?
No, I do have that question now to a couple people.
Okay,
If I don't get an answer, I'm gonna estimate. But you don't like that idea.
Well, Adam wanna be able to tell you what legal expense is gonna be for that.
Somewhat,
At least give you some kind of a rough,
yeah.
Yeah.
rough idea anyway.
There's a couple people at the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions.
oh, man, allergies.
Really?
It's kind of cut off of your Mock Brook here, but it does go right here.
Which- Okay, this is the interesting one. Pay
This is your
attention.
neighborhood there.
This is up West Meadow, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a piece.
Now you see that little where the arrow is? That's where we would like to bring it together from that to that.
Right in here, right.
So we need to-
104 and 102. And you know, I would just suggest going 200 feet beyond this stream.
What about the other side?
There's a possibility of in here. Is that well?
You know, the brook's running over
Nice.
onto that, onto, those two other lots, ain't they?
Either way, so you got two ways to connect through, this is actually.
Because of,
Zero Shepherd property here, and
Told you.
102.104.
Who is this? Oh.
Prior to conservation.
I think it'd be good to connect them.
Well, it certainly would be, if, you know, if the neighbors or the landowners are respective of putting a restriction on you know, a strip of it that's on either side of the waterway, so people can fish down through there without getting thrown off their property. I'm all about that.
So how far am I from my property from where that is,
Oh,
Kobe?
now we're going down that rabbit hole.
I didn't know how close.
You're right there, Jimmy.
Tell me when you see it.
Oh, he,
Okay, the 20 and the, all right,
42, and
42,
then,
54.
yeah, 54.
All right, so I'm not of any assistance there. Okay. Oh, I see who my butter is
You
now.
may wanna think about it too.
I think he has, you have agricultural,
Forestry and
Oh,
agriculture, 61 and forestry. The 20's in forestry, and the house is in agriculture.
you must be, you part of the ag program too, whatever it's called. What's it called, Kevin?
I can't remember, my brain's drawing a blank.
Mine.
It's something along any brook or any river or any tributary, especially if there's fish in it. In my opinion, that's just my opinion, to have some, you know, if there can be just a rite of passage easement for fishermen to use. I've been thrown off a couple of pieces right in town. I actually bought a pretty good parcel of that same brook on the other side of where I was thrown off just recently, and if we eventually, when we get ready to do it, I'm gonna deed that property. I was telling, I think I've told you,
Yeah,
20 or 25 acres
which is,
to the town and up to the Conservation Commission, under the Conservation Commission's control. So you're familiar with that piece, you and I walked a portion of it.
So I think, approaching those property owners, discuss it, it's worthwhile.
Yeah, the worst they can say is no. You know,
Yeah, sorry it's got so late for this application.
and they might just say, hey, we've always let the fishermen fish it anyway. You know,
Are there houses on it? Can you go back up?
the houses are way up by the road. Those are long, narrow strips of property that go
Long.
way.
we
Yeah.
call those big moose legs,
Yeah.
not a dog leg,
Yeah.
those are moose legs.
They're just long parcels.
Yeah, but I think,
One of them doesn't have a structure.
two, yeah,
I just spoke to the gal at
Yeah.
104 that they just bought that.
those are those people you told me about.
No, they're the
Oh.
ones to the top of the hill. Right next to the two houses that Phil just sold. 108, 106, then it goes to 104. The one with the columns, and that reaches.
See, if he
Woodtown.
still owned that, you know, it would have been good to talk to him when he still owned it, you know, and then
Who owned it?
when Phil owned it,
Oh,
then you could have, you know, he could have put a greenway
well, yeah,
on a little
Phil
strip.
doesn't own
Phil doesn't own,
own that.
no,
No, oh, that's
108
right.
and 110 and 112. Phil owns.
112, those are the
that's
two
right.
lots that are getting finished.
Yep, that's right, too.
Right.
Yep.
Do the owners get any benefit from granting this,
No,
other than the fact that they're doing something nice for
no,
the town?
no, other than the fact that they're doing something nice,
We
That's it.
call it the warm and fuzzy effect,
it's.
warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
Pat, what are your thoughts on the grant, for the surveying those properties on Bloomberg and Melissa Drive and then the conservation restriction?
We're adding to our, this is up on West Meadow, what we're looking at, Pat, is that section in the middle, we want to
Right,
bring together the conservation properties.
So the agricultural fields would be way over here?
to the left,
way to the left.
Yeah.
the green.
Oh, the
Where
country,
the arrow is right now is that little strip right there would be the piece, that strip right there, where he just moved there, where we would look to bring those two properties to right there.
sure, yeah. I'm just wondering where the, is it Dick's?
Oh, that's down further.
That's way
Oh,
down.
that's down.
Wait, yeah.
That's down the other end.
See, now you can
Close,
see, you
getting
get
close
a
to it
little more
now.
definition as to, yeah,
Right there.
where the solar fields are,
Two
that's
pieces
all.
on the right, that's,
McGovern's.
that's McGovern Farms, owns that.
Okay.
How recent is this, aerial, Kobe?
2023.
Cool.
Okay.
And Garrett and I are like, very familiar with that area.
And that's the Squanicook right there?
Yep,
Headwaters,
Yeah, it's Ash Swamp.
Ash, which is,
Oh, yeah, Ash
that's
Swamp.
Ash Swamp, that's where, what do we have, Witchbrook, Greenville, Lockbrook, Willardbrook, all
Yeah.
coming into that
Yeah.
area,
yeah,
making our beloved Squanicook River.
yeah.
Can you go back with this, image to the parcels in question so I can see where the stream goes through?
Lockbrook,
Yeah.
Gotta go that way.
right there,
Okay, right,
that's
right,
Lockbrook.
that's it.
Lockbrook is a real true cold water fishery, because as you can see, you really can't make it up because it's completely covered with forest.
Right.
So it's well canopied.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. If they go for it, you know,
If they don't,
people, it's okay for you to fish down to the property line and then pick it up later. So why not connect them?
and a lot of people are pretty nice about letting you fish across their land, but I have witnessed firsthand people that
No boring.
don't have any desire to have you trespassing on their property. Accidentally, obviously, but
You see, I've never had a problem as long as they ask. I do when all of a sudden they come walking across the middle of the field with a bunch of people. I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's
stepping
up?
all over your garlic.
It's not that. It's just, give me a heads up. I have no problem with people going out there.
So, Pat, do you
How
have
much do
anything
you-
you wanna add?
How much of Lockbrook do you want? Do you want,
I was watching.
what, 400-500 feet of it?
Of Lockbrook?
Yeah,
Oh, more than that.
more than that.
Good, yeah, good,
Stop sharing.
good long. I have a good section.
Probably 1,000 feet.
I always tell you it's more than he has.
Let's move on. I'm tired, I got a very long week.
I know, I'm with you.
We could vote for Colby to, apply for the loan, I mean, the grant,
Yeah.
to have Lunenburg Road and Alyssa Drive properties or parcels that are in the Conservation Commission.
When was the last time they were surveyed?
I don't know, so hold on, I'm gonna make a
They
motion.
were never said that.
I'll make a motion for Colby to apply for this grant for the surveying of Bloomberg Road and Alyssa Drive parcels, and also to apply for the grant for the conservation restriction in the Concom properties on West Meadow Road. Is there a second?
Second,
Roll call vote starting with Mike.
I thought said yes.
James Ryan, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Kevin Smith, yes.
Pat Campbell, yes.
Moving forward, Kobe.
Good luck.
Oh, thank you.
Adams.
Oh, you and Mike attended something at Nashua River Watershed a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You go on that last meeting? I forget when.
Briefly,
Did you?
For invasive.
The invasives, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right, 3.3. Kevin, this one's yours. I'm gonna leave it. James Gates is stepping out and abstaining from the discussion.
Now you're gonna be sitting on the stairs. We wanna know where to find you.
I think because I missed the last meeting, Jim, could you bring that up? Because I was in the hospital
What do we got on this one is the enforcement?
on the enforcement.
Mhm.
I would like to give my opinion, although I was not here.
I didn't know he was gonna put this on me. I thought you were gonna be able to cover it.
Well,
You're right,
I
you
can
weren't
read
at the
it.
meeting.
I was not
You weren't
here.
at the meeting.
I wasn't present at the meeting.
All right, Mass EV lawn protection, Townsend. Do we wanna read the whole violation out, Kobe?
I would suggest reading the letter,
Okay,
I'd read the letter.
okay,
the main body of it anyway.
Mr. Shepherd, on behalf of the Conservation Commission, I'm reaching out regarding work performed on two properties located on Main Street, Townsend, Massachusetts. The map and parcel IDs are 33-47-0 and 34-18-0. They are generally between the rail trail and the Squanicook River. The cutting of the trees and vegetation are in violation of CMR 10.02, which explains any activity proposed and undertaken within an area specified 310, but et cetera, which will remove, fill, dredge, and alter the area is subject to regulation. MGLC 13140 and requires the filing and notice of intent. The Townsend Wetland Bylaw that was violated is chapter 150 Article 2, which explains vegetated, buffered, and naturally occurring plant material minimum of 35 feet wide along all wetlands and water bodies are not to be disturbed and labeled as such. I think we can provide the cutting and vegetation on these properties within the 100-foot buffer zone riverfront area and 35-foot no disturb zone need to cease immediately and would like to schedule a time when we can talk. I have to read that again. Schedule a time from when we can walk the property together to see if any other remedial action is necessary or if conservation commission permits are needed. You can contact me, et cetera, Kobe Street or Townsend Conservation.
My concern, I wasn't present at the meeting. That simply, and I'm looking at this, and I don't know how you feel about this, Jim. I'm looking at that as maintenance. He's been in there, he's been maintaining, no filling, no dredging, no cutting, no disturbing the ground. All he's doing is something that he's done 2 or 3 times previously since he's on the property. I look at that just as I look at Unitil every 2 or 3 years going down their power lines and trimming them with the forestry equipment, the same machine that he uses to keep the vegetation down on the power lines, going right up to the edge of any vegetated wetlands and anything just to keep maintenance down. That's how I see it. You see it, Jim?
It doesn't fall under the
We
same
look-
category as utilities, so, yeah.
We
I
look
agree.
at when we go along our fields, we have a big batwing mower. We go around our fields and everything else and mow it down. We're not digging into the soil. We're simply keeping the vegetation down so it doesn't come out into the fields. I'm looking at that as a maintenance item. I don't believe he has done anything wrong, my opinion. Jim,
We took that ride, we actually took a good look at where the work was being done. Mr. Shepherd was 100% compliant the moment he was notified that the machine needs to be taken out of there. We need to move forward in another way to be able to go in there to do any maintenance, clearing, NOI, so on and so forth. But I demonstrated to you even on my property where I go in trimming trees, limbing the pine so that it's gonna be more harvestable, removing any of our invasive species in there, cleaning, clearing, etc. I mean, I just did 5 acres. But he's within the 200-foot riverfront, which is really what,
Yeah, but you are too. You're following everything you're mowing either side of Lock Brook
as I
is
told
within
Colby.
200 foot. Anything you're doing within a named brook, you're falling under the Rivers Act. That's maintenance. It's no different than what we did across the road.
Only
many
difference
times.
is I'm working under agricultural forestry. And it is,
Isn't that parcel
we
right
looked
along
at it,
the
I
edge of the
think when I,
hayfield, isn't it under agricultural?
I don't know, that's what we were supposed to.
I don't.
We were supposed to look into, but when I spoke to Kenny Amadon, he goes, it was always under forestry.
See, I don't know.
It was under forestry.
I'm looking at that as maintenance
Mhm.
from a farmer's perspective.
Which he is and which I
You
am.
know, but Colby's looking at it obviously from some
Conservation.
I get it. I don't know how you can force a guy or put an enforcement order on him for what I consider as a farmer to be routine maintenance. And I don't know, like I say, Jim, Mike,
We all should chime in. I mean,
I'd like to
I
hear
want
some
your
folks'
opinion and
opinion.
Pat's, of course. You know, you're familiar with what we're looking at, right, Pat, in the
Yeah.
harbor?
Yeah.
Next to the rail trail?
Yep,
Okay. I mean, for the moment, I thought he was actually clearing the rail trail edges and cleaning it up more,
I
but
mow and maintain the rail trail from the storage facility
all the way down.
to the church. I've done it since they built the rail trail.
Yeah.
I'm within 200 feet all the time. I'm mowing that brush back and doing that. What's the difference?
Yeah.
That's how I'm looking at it.
And even as I had pointed out to you, all the equipment in the field of where they're doing production, they're right next to Willard Brook. I'm right on the 200-foot area, and I just got done with the machine and they're clearing it out, and it's 100% acceptable.
You're not digging, you're not disturbing the ground, you're not
Absolutely
dredging,
not.
you're not ripping the roots out.
No.
All you're doing is mowing it off.
Yeah.
And I do
Nurturing his
it
woodland areas.
across different pieces on my farm.
So I would assume since
Mike,
Gary,
I'd like to
Well, years
get your
ago,
take and
we asked the Conservation Commission, and I don't know if you were on it at the time, I can't remember, we came down here and we had some trees at number 5. We're at 31, 22 is the one that we dealt with recently, but my daughter was living in number 5, and we had some trees we wanted taken down. And at the time, I asked them about sort of pruning, which would be sort of routine maintenance
yeah.
on your, and it seemed to be okay. So to me, it sounds like in a way, this was sort of routine.
dead or endangered tree or pruning for maintenance.
Yeah, and this was definitely within the 35 feet.
Right?
Yeah, and that's the answer that I got.
That would you?
Yeah, and also, what's the, I asked them.
The caliper, the diameter.
The diameter of the tree that it's okay to take down without.
I don't know what that number is. What is it, Colby? Maybe you know the numbers of 4-inch caliper? On the trees that you can remove within the buffer zone. I call it unwanted trees that are just naturally coming up along the edge of a pond that you can go in and cut. I don't know whether it's 2-inch caliper or a 4-inch caliper. I don't even know. There's no diameter.
According to our bylaw, it's any vegetation.
Well,
which I was gonna say, we work under in forestry, their guidelines.
yeah,
Our bylaws do not
no,
render the
that's right,
same
that's right,
verbiage.
that's right.
So technically, you've got a little sapling that you just cut with loppers. Technically, you're supposed to.
It's within 35 foot of the
Do not disturb.
wetland. It's within this no disturb zone.
Yeah.
Now, our bylaw is not written, I fit that because it comes under general provisions,
Especially the 35-foot.
which are supposed to be for applications.
Well, that'd be more, I think it was geared more for development, wasn't it?
Mhm.
You know, the restrictions for development.
I'm just reading it.
What's your take?
Can I come up there?
Sure,
Sure, absolutely.
I know, I'm
You can
soft-spoken, so.
You can sit in the big chair,
Oh,
Colby.
boy.
We're gonna let you sit in the big chair tonight.
All right, so what I see as the issue here, and I understand that there are exemptions on other properties, maybe yours, but I'm just looking at these properties alone, these two properties.
Mhm.
I don't see them being in agricultural use. When were they made into basically lawns? Because those are they hayed?
Mhm.
Yeah, those are hay fields. Those are actively,
That is
field.
active.
yeah,
Okay, and when did they change to that? Has it been years?
well, it's always been, it's
always been under
in
forestry and agriculture.
Forestry and agriculture,
Right.
probably from back in the sixties. Gary improved it, enlarged the field on the right-hand
119
side,
side.
on the 119 side.
Yeah.
And, on the other side, in the peninsula, I always call it the peninsula in there.
Yeah.
That's been an active hayfield for Christ's sakes for
Ever.
100 years, yeah.
Yeah, as long as I can remember.
You know,
That's when
it's-
Amadon's had that in
Yeah.
forestry.
Yeah.
Dickey,
Yeah, it's
always had been in forestry.
it was always owned by the Harbor Farm, which
Yeah.
Gary owns now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so that's a tough one,
I'm just saying, you can clearly see stumps from the rail trail, newly cut trees, which further encroach on the buffer there. And
Which was approved
yeah,
for.
but
The rail trail.
that wasn't that,
that wasn't part of the rail trail OOC. It's on private
What, for-
property.
for cutting the trees along the outside of the rail trail?
No, along the edge of.
No, the rest-
the-
Yeah, but the rest of that wasn't there
on
forestry
the edge
cutting
of the
plan?
river in the pond.
Yeah,
Mhm.
wasn't there forestry
It was
cutting
a
plan
forestry
for that?
cutting plan. And a lot of those trees were removed for the safety of the rail trail.
Well, the ones along the side, I think you.
On the edges, further down.
Along the edge of the hayfield, and out in
Diameter
that area,
of the
but.
stumps? I mean,
Sorry?
diameter of the stumps, I mean, significant trees.
20
15.
inch.
Well, they were
15,
locked,
20.
they were locked.
Yeah.
You know, there was,
So backing up, because, and I'm not sure exactly how much authority you have to make, your best judgment calls. But backing up, let's say that nothing had happened and he came to you and said, I'd like to do this pruning. Is that something that you would have been able to grant him permission to do
well, the
without?
commission could.
Right.
Commission could,
That
without,
would go through the permit process, and there was no permit applied here.
yeah.
It's, I'd say it clearly as a violation of our bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act. They say that, I know there's no ground being dug up or
Dredging.
Digging,
or
excavating,
excavating.
or dredging.
There is altering, and they go on to define altering as destruction of vegetation. And it's clearly destruction of vegetation,
I
right
don't
up
think
to
it's,
the
I
well.
don't view it as destruction. I view it as forestry management. I don't want to get jammed up on this. I
Yeah, I
feel
don't
as though
wanna
Mr.
run
Shepherd,
this out in the weeds either.
Right.
but, You know, cause my interpretation of this is,
but
is.
he's compliant, the machine's been removed, and we're not
I
looking
will
at,
say that, after a very hostile call, he did remove the machine the next day.
Mhm.
Okay, so that activity has ceased. Now, it's commission's,
due diligence to make a
Diligence to
decision that they
consider.
remove it out of a violation and move forward.
I'll also mention,
Mhm.
that area is within the ACEC, it's priority habitat, it's a floodplain. And there's a ribbon of vegetation that he's left along the river there. It's not performing the functions that are meant to filter out filtered groundwater going into the river,
of a riparian status
Yeah.
function.
And it's certainly not, doesn't meet the minimum of the buffer.
So as it stands, it is of our prerogative to remove this out of a violation standard status and move forward with it. I think in future discussion, it would have been better to approach Gary if we saw this, didn't have that opportunity. I don't want to get jammed up on this. I think the machine was removed. He's compliant to it. We've learned a lesson on this, and I think we can go forward from here.
I don't understand that approach. It just, you know, things have to be out in the open. And they just kind of, I don't want to see any kind of appearance even of favoritism. And that's how the approach looks.
So we would be, what would you feel the approach be, Mr. Smith?
Well, like I say, I'm looking at it from a farmer standpoint, and I'm looking at it that it was maintenance. He got within 35 feet, he got within the 35 feet.
Yeah, he went right up to the edge of the wetland, possibly into the wetland.
Well, within
On
the
the
35 feet
pond?
of the edge of the pond.
No, there's the riverfront area there, and there's a wetland. There's a 100-foot buffer zone that he was in violation of, and a 200-foot riverfront area.
So it sounds like legitimately, because yours is agricultural land, you could do it. This is whether or not that field has been hayed for 100 years, if it's not designated agricultural land, then he would be in violation and it wouldn't be maintenance.
That sounds accurate, but I would have to check on that. If it's the designation, it has to be under chapter 61A or something to have those rules applied. I would have to look at that up.
And so let's say that it's not agricultural land, so he would have
No, it
to,
is agricultural land, there's no.
well, it's, okay, but designated, official, apparently there's an official designation, okay? So if he were to want to do this again, he would have to come to us, and would that be a simple thing? Would it be an RDA?
It should be a simple.
Yeah.
But there should
But it
be,
would be the proper way to do it, and then we would have some control over how much he would cut.
and there again, the Conservation Commission has to decide the significance of the activity that is being proposed and the area. And nothing is like black and white. There's
Right.
gray area all in between. It's up to the commission to decide what the activities are allowed or not.
Right. So what are we discussing here? Whether or not there should be some kind of fine or penalty or what? If he's now sort of in compliance, so to speak, because he's taken the machinery away and he knows that he needs to go through a process rather than just do it again.
So, I mean, I would suggest a minimum of vegetation along that riverfront and wetland.
Could you say that again?
I would recommend that he maintain, that's the wrong word for, that there be a natural buffer of vegetation there that meets the minimum. I think it's,
You go up to 200 feet, you have 3/4 of the way across the damn field.
area. And, and I'm not suggesting 200, but certainly 35 feet is,
Well, if a guy stays 35 feet, you know, that's about, he probably doesn't even have that along some parts of the field. They come out there, though, that little peninsula is where we used to go horn boat fishing at night. The
Yeah.
hayfield literally was from here to the wall from there. I think it's grown out a little bit since then. Is it 35 foot? I don't know, 35 foot seems like I guess a fair and reasonable number. I believe he's outside of the 35 feet, no?
No, he goes into that 35 foot. I didn't access the property. I just saw what I could see from the rail trail. And I measured a little bit from the rail trail. So, and there's certainly encroachment like into that 35 foot buffer. Now, I'll also say that, in that area, especially now that there's a rail trail, highly visible. If that area there, which isn't like a backyard of someone's, and there's no houses around, if the bylaws and regulations are not held up there, who's going to? It's a precedent, and it's a small one.
Is this the first time, because you've been cutting a couple of years, I think. Is this the first
Oh, no,
time?
he's been cutting in there for 10 years, probably.
But was just noticed
This
now?
is not the first time that he's gone in there and trimmed that out. That's something that he's probably done every 2 years, probably done 5 times. I don't know.
So it seems like the 35 feet is a significant part of the discussion.
That meets the bylaw.
Right.
Well, why don't we, I don't know what, maybe we need to sit down and table this thing and change it for a vote to rescind,
Well, I'd like to
That-
see this property. I haven't
and then
seen
go
it.
down and let's see if we can maybe rewrite the rules for agricultural to some extent on certain conditions to maintain the 35 foot. And if it's not in an existing productive hayfield. Like that, most of that field's within the 35 foot.
Yep.
You can't knock you can't deny the guy to be able to go out and keep the brush down, keep the, to keep the, so the sun can get in and dry the damn hay. I mean, we fight that all the time. And if you don't maintain that smaller stuff, the stuff gets up. Next thing you know, you got a massive canopy growing around the edge of the damn field. You can't dry hay to save your life.
So you can see this from the rail trail.
Yeah, you can
Okay,
see
but you
right
can't
from
go
119.
onto his property because we don't have permission.
I did not have permission.
Did-
It's kind of like public use, yeah. I shouldn't say that.
Well, the rail trail was public use.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of use by the public, but I don't know if that's allowed by the property owner, Jerry Shepherd, or not. Should
Well, before I sort of
That's,
formulate what I think about this, I'd like to see it myself. I haven't, I'm trying to visualize exactly where it is.
Which draws me to the point, looks like we, may need to table this.
Well, if you got time constraint, if there's a time constraint and it falls within.
On
this
what, the
time
violation?
The time constraint of the violation. And we can table her up till the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the landowner, see if we can go down, take a look at it. And then.
In your
and then
discussion,
deal with it in the next meeting. We still gonna be within time frame? Cool.
60,
60 days.
All right,
60 days.
then let's
And
do that.
We can get Mike out there, get
Yep.
his depth of knowledge and up a
Yep.
little bit on that. Pat, how are you with,
Yeah, I'd like to go too.
you wanna get out there? So
Yeah.
should we reach out to Shepherd Farms so that we can take the 2 commissioners out for a better look?
Mhm.
Do you want to?
I would be glad to go.
Yeah, we oughta, and maybe this is something that, we're gonna, as farmers, we're gonna have to try to work with the commission to set some kind of standard. Or I don't know how you set the 35 foot when your fields run right up to the edge of a brook, and I mean, just the same difference right up there.
Right there?
I don't know, we gotta get in there and cut the brush up there along Willard Brook from time to time, when, that stuff, that's all within 20 feet.
Yeah.
You know, those trees get out in the field, they take the friggin' mirrors off the tractors, they're busting glass. You know, that's, I don't know how we draw that line.
It's a tough
That's
one
gonna be a
because,
tough one for us to try to figure out.
because we
You don't
work
wanna
in,
not be able to maintain,
Maybe there's something already in place. I was looking at it from Wetland Protection Act and our wetland town bylaws, so.
well, we may have to revisit that, I
right,
think, in the
and
upcoming.
more of a view, an overview of how it is being
Yeah.
taken care of under an agriculture status. And a safety one, that's another thing that I'm just as concerned with.
You know,
Some of
like-
those trees, if they're not cleaned and culled, and you keep a good overview, those are in reach of that rail trail.
Last week, I lost a $230 mirror on that new 130,
Yep, gone.
probably 50 feet from wetlands, 30 feet from wetlands, I don't know.
I mean,
You know?
you saw what I've done in the Maple Grove.
Yeah.
And some of these trees, point blank, are dangerous. I got bit 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No
You know
two
what do you
ways
do
about
with
it.
You know,
It was a dead, it had to come down, I cut it, and it came down.
Christ, if you gotta notify the damn conservation, you gotta notify the town every time you wanna take a tree down, because there's a tree leaning into your field. What farmer's gonna do that? He pushes the damn thing off the side, the field keeps on going.
I understand, but this is, right next to the Squanicook River.
No,
A lot of
I have to
regulated
appreciate
areas.
where you're coming.
Yeah.
It's very visible, it's seen by all, and
Let's see what we
unfortunately,
can do to, let's see what we can do to facilitate with the landowner. Go out there, take a little look, let the rest of the
Mike
commission
and
have
Pat get out there so they can get a good view.
get a clear understanding for the rest of the commission. Well, within our time constraints, this next meeting, we gotta deal with it.
Next
And,
meeting
like I
is,
say, I was out this past meeting because I was in the hospital, so, so
why don't you motion for, we go for, continue this,
I'll make a motion to continue this,
Till next meeting.
discussion until next meeting. In the meantime, we'll reach out, one of us will reach out to the landowner
correct?
and, set up a time in which the members, the commission can go out, take a look, Colby's presence, and, come back and, deal with the issue at the next meeting.
I second that.
Mike Pot said yes.
James Duran, yes,
Kevin Smith, yes?
Pat Chipmunk, yes.
okay. And also, let's find out, get some more information, what our flexibility is
So that
That's a
goes.
good idea.
underneath
That's a good idea.
agriculture. And we need to be able to get some more flexibility under agriculture, that's what he's working under.
I understand.
It's not, it's ag.
Nobody's trying to do a friggin' thing wrong here.
Oh, no.
If not, we're all guilty of it.
If
Every farmer in the region is guilty of it.
I even said that to you, I said I'd have to put myself in violation. So, go get, is he off the stairs? Oh, yeah.
You can have it. 3.4 Edwards Road wetlands violation. You asked to throw that on there, you feel that. It's back
Well,
in
something
with
needs to be
vengeance.
done again, yeah, I mean, that looks horrible, and it's all falling down towards the water again. I mean,
I don't know what to say.
I don't know,
I
it
really
looks worse
don't.
than last time, if you ask me. So,
No, actually, it is better than the last time, but, I went to pretty great lengths to communicate with him, help him out, do as much as I can.
I just can't see, I mean, he has all that in the house, he's just throwing out there, I mean, I don't know where it's coming from.
Not sure how to go with this. What do you wanna do, Chairman?
Can I ask where this is?
61, that's what it is. 61 Edwards.
Yeah,
Well,
it's,
you know where the bridge is and is compromised, the culvert? Where, when you,
You know where the harbor fire station is?
right, just after the
Same
house,
side of the road, going towards Pepperell.
Yeah.
next left.
There's a road called Edwards Road. It's the house right on the corner.
you can't miss it.
Opposite the Cowpies,
Opposite the what?
the Cowpies?
I don't know. I don't know where there is.
You know where the parking area is just below Shepherd's when you go through the lights?
Yeah.
You got the ice cream stand
Yeah,
stand
yeah, I
on the
know, I
left,
know what it is.
you got the little parking
Yeah,
area,
it's
just
Ano-
past
Ano
that,
Claire.
Fire station.
just,
You know Ano
just
Claire?
past that, you have a left-hand turn right there, that's
Okay,
Edwards
right,
Road.
right, right.
If you take that left, it's right there on your
Okay.
left.
You can't miss it.
He had
Was that an
recruited a
old-
lot,
Was that an old antique shop or something?
no,
No.
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 residential home.
Okay,
What was it, 2 years? He had accrued a large fine.
Way more than that. You were on the commission fighting it, then you got off, you left the commission, came back, and it was still a fight.
Well,
he
you
had
served
not-
him, didn't you?
We sent letters.
Colby, didn't you
we
stop, give him a letter
Did all
one day?
that.
No, I
When you
think
were,
it was-
when you were on the board
I think it was
previously?
before.
as a member?
Stopped there.
Huh?
I never stopped it.
Oh, okay.
No, that was Jessica.
I was in the meetings.
Okay, so,
Yes.
Colby,
Yes.
can you investigate it, and if we need to bring it to one of us, well, we can discuss it at the next meeting to issue an enforcement, or if you feel that you need to do it sooner. Call someone, commission, or whatever you want to do, and I don't need that.
That's your folder for the minutes. What is it, Gobies? I'll put my name on it, make it mine.
and so what's the issue?
Yeah, a lot of different stuff out there.
All right, it's
lots of
8:30.
Gas cans and.
Okay,
all
so
kinds of
next
stuff.
meeting, hopefully we can have some movement, which there won't be any movement. It's
On-
a battle, so
What do you look on?
on Edwards,
Oh, no,
So-
I'm not touching that.
well, we have to.
We gotta deal with it, we gotta,
That you
We're
guys.
just
So, okay, we can make a motion now. If Pat, you feel that it's in violation, then let's make a motion to issue enforcement.
we're gonna have to issue an enforcement letter
Yeah.
to them again.
This is because it's within 200 feet of the,
That's,
It's in the swamp.
that's
It's-
something, yeah.
oh, it's in a swamp there. Oh,
Have you checked it lately, Colby? You were
You have to
down there,
go
right?
back there, you will see.
okay.
Go in there. It's all in the front yard, the side yard, going down towards the
He
water.
did. I mean, we got us cleared and we took
Yeah.
dumpsters.
Whole
It's,
30 yard dumpster out of there, dude.
yeah,
But
We got
it's-
people to
it's
help to
starting
clean it all up and everything and.
Migrate
Well,
again.
great.
Okay, so
Back to
let's
all that.
let's pull this all together and, Pat, if you
All
want,
right, I make a motion that we send, what do you call it?
61 Edwards
Oh,
Road.
yeah, we'll
certified register letter
yeah,
from,
certified.
Conservation.
letter From us.
It's known that it needs to be that. Go ahead, issue an enforcement.
Oh, yes, that's what I was gonna say. I wanna issue an enforcement for that property.
For debris in the wetlands. I'll second it.
Mike Potts said yes.
James Dryness.
James Dees, yes?
Kevin Smith, yes.
That demo, yes.
When
Go
you
ahead.
say enforcement, do you mean a letter, a letter of notification, or do you want an enforcement order?
Well, he's had about 9 different letters,
Yeah,
he won't sign for them,
No,
so I don't know, send him up.
Send them a letter. That's all.
Send him a letter, let him know that he's, that, you know, he needs to.
just start a paper trail.
Yeah,
I'd keep it simple, like you said, as a letter. See if it gets responded to.
I'd put it in a plain envelope, not something that says Town
Yeah,
of Townsend or something, so he has to open it.
We just have to read them in the record.
alright, let's read it in the record.
Okay, so,
I'm dying.
Me too. 4.1, Town of Townsend Forest Cutting Plan for Hickory Drive. Was this work already completed? Does anyone know?
That's Haynes Road,
Well, that's the
Haynes
next
is the
one.
other one.
This is
Hickory.
Hickory.
Yeah,
oh,
Is Hickory already done?
look at the, what does it say? How many board feet were harvested?
60,000.
no, I don't think that's been done,
Okay, what about Haynes?
I don't know.
All right, well, we got
Well, why don't we-
Forest Street
why don't
cutting
we
plans for,
Table them and have Colby go check them.
it's all within 60, chapter 61, I believe.
I think the one on, I think,
Haynes was done.
I think so,
He got blamed for it.
I know. I got blamed for it, I had nothing to do with it, that's why I
I don't know how
said.
that, how we would get it after they did it.
That's kind of what I'm curious to know. But, okay, we have
That might have
forestry
been a
cutting
separate,
plans
that,
for,
oh, wait a minute, that's a private piece. The other piece was a town piece,
this
wasn't
is a town piece, these are both town
it?
pieces.
Both town pieces?
Affordable housing trust pieces.
Oh,
Oh. Why didn't you say that?
Oh, I'm sorry. So the, Veronica Kell signed for these for Townsend Affordable Home for Housing Trust, on the 23rd of January, 2025.
I think those have been done. Cousin called me on those.
he did?
How come we didn't get a jab at it? How come we didn't get a shot?
Oh,
So
All right,
those
well-
are done.
All right,
Yeah.
next meeting, discuss ACEC stuff possibly, the Mass WPA, just a broad overview, because it's in good practice to do that,
yes.
so. I want to make a motion to adjourn at 8:37.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the conservation meeting at 8:37 PM. Do I get a
Second, Mike Cross said yes.
James Dorian, yes.
James Gates, yes?
Kevin
General,
Smith,
yes.
yes.